We're ready to start. Let me pull up my agenda. Can you let me know when we're live? Oh, great. Okay, it is 6:05 on August 19th, and I am going to call the Co-op Hollis Brookline Cooperative School Board meeting to order. Do we have any agenda adjustments?
I have none.
Great. We have a consent agenda. Do we approve that right away?
Yep.
Okay. So I need a motion to move the consent agenda.
So moved.
Moved to approve the consent agenda. So moved by Amy.
Yep.
A second by Cindy. Are there any questions? It's on the agenda.
It's a resignation.
A resignation. All right. All those in favor? 3. Opposed? Abstention? Okay. So 3-1.
0-1. 301.
301. Thank you. 301. Motion carries. Next, I need to appoint a process observer. Could someone please raise their hand? I will just appoint you. You did it last time.
Cindy always.
Yeah, right.
She's so good at it.
I'm like, I'll do it again. Whatever.
Oh, thank you, Cindy. I promise it will go quick. Okay. And now we need to look at some minutes. So we don't have any correspondence. Okay. All right. So I need to approve some minutes. We need to approve some minutes from the Hollis Brookline Cooperative School District meeting on July 15th, 2026. Rob and Kate were not here. I have a few amendments. Page 5, line 38. Replace accommodations with commendations. Page 9, line 32, members should be plural. And page 10, line 42, delete could that following but. So I need a motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
I'm sorry, who said that?
Cindy.
Cindy, thank you. And a second?
Second.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes from July 15th, 2026? Seeing none, I'll take a vote. All those in favor? 4-0. Motion carries. We had non-public minutes as well from July 15th, and there are no amendments, so I need a motion to, sorry, my thing's out of order. Thank you. And the motion to approve is presented.
So moved.
Moved by Amy.
Cindy.
Cindy. I'm sorry, I can't see. I mean, it sounds
I know.
So
I guess so.
Cindy made the motion. I need a second.
Amy. Second.
Okay. Are there any questions on the non-public minutes? All those in favor? 4-0. Great. I feel like my thing did not print. Let me see where I have this. I'm confused by mine. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. Okay. Moving on to public input. So public input is scheduled to start at 6:10 p.m. Seeing that we are kind of ahead of schedule already, process observer, make note of that. I am going to start public input at 6:08, run it for a half an hour till 6:38. We will move on with our meeting, seeing that I don't believe we'll have much public input because nobody's here. So I'm going to open the floor for public input at 6:08, and if someone could set a timer and shut me down at 6:38, that would be great. Okay, or 6:40 actually, because we were supposed to start at 6:10. So let's go to 6:40. Yep. That's the number. Sorry, I was doing the math wrong. Okay. Actually, I should probably take a moment and have us do introductions for the public. So I will start with Cindy.
Cindy Van Conant, Hollis School Board member.
Amy Kellner from Hollis.
Dot Flaherty, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction.
Lauren DeGennaro, Assistant Superintendent of Student Services.
Gina Bergstock, Superintendent.
Holly Drello-Babcock, member from Hollis and chair.
Rob Mann, member of the school board from Hollis.
Tom Solon, School Board Member, Brookline.
Patrick West, principal of the middle school.
Jacob Hess, principal at the high school.
Thank you guys for that. Okay, so moving on with our agenda, we have our athletics report from the board? Report?
It is hard to believe, but another year of HB athletics kicked off. Football started last Friday on the 14th, while all other sports began this past Monday. Student athletes at the middle school will first start taking the fields, courts, and trails on Thursday, September 3rd. Current registrations are showing strong participation numbers across the board, and an official breakdown of those numbers will be included in the September board packet. While summer has seen no shortage of action in the world of athletics, we're looking forward to the buzz of the official start of all of our sports teams. In addition to the start of the fall season, we've also completed impact testing at the high school level, and we'll be offering the opportunity to our middle school student athletes when the season begins. Mark your calendars. Homecoming weekends will also coincide with our New Hampshire Tackles Hunger campaign and is scheduled to take place on Friday, October 3rd and Saturday, October 4th, with all games happening on the turf field and culminating in a homecoming dance following the football game on Saturday, October 4th. A full schedule of events will be posted on the athletic website. And we have some district athletic openings at both the high school and the middle school. Middle school is looking for a girls basketball coach, and the high school is looking for a variety of assistant coaches and a few head coaching positions. So please take a look at those.
Are there any questions on the athletic board report? There are quite a few coaches openings, but most of them are not for the fall. So
Correct.
I
that's
do
good.
have one question.
There are some significant, though, fall vacancies. Yes.
Are we having any other schools use our field this year because of what happened in Nashville last year with the stadium
Oh,
being unavailable?
No, theirs is back.
They're all set?
Yeah.
Okay.
so the answer is probably not. Great, good question. Thank you. Any other questions on the board report? So we'll be seeing more numbers in September. That's great. Thank you. All right, moving on to the principal's report. That would be, I guess I'll go for, you're listed as second, Mr. West, so it's you.
Sounds good. Our opening days, we do have an update from when I submitted this. Unfortunately, due to all of the construction that is going on in the building, we are going to have to cancel our student open house days next week on the 24th and the 27th. Last year we were in a similar situation. We did have one day, but as I'm sure you saw coming into campus, and if you haven't looked down that hallway, there's still quite a bit of construction that doesn't allow for students and families to come into our building next week, which I'm very sorry about, but hoping everybody can understand. We've got to get the building ready to open for the first day of school, and as much as we can for the 31st when staff come back into the building. We're still planning to have our 7th grade orientation on September 2nd, as we've always done, which is dedicated to 7th grade students to come into the building for about a half a day, walk their, do their schedule, try their locker, get their Chromebook, and just acclimate to a new building with roughly 100 new students that they have not met. PTSA is looking for volunteers to get involved. I've included contact information there. Extended school year run by Student Services Administrator Catherine Ransom put on another great program this year, roughly 28 students involved, and just a really great ESY program. So thanks to her and all of our staff, as well as students and families, for such a positive and enriching experience. Supply lists have been sent out, as well as other beginning of the year information. Facilities work I included. Our facility crew here does a really great job getting the building ready, but they've also been managing how to do their normal job while all of the projects go on in the building. I think I forgot to mention this last board meeting, but in room 110, our life skills room, that is getting a full renovation. And I included a picture there, and it's looking really great. It's a pretty old classroom there with some pretty old kitchens that are, I think we're getting 2 new kitchens for our life skills, and hopefully some other opportunities around clubs, maybe cooking and baking and things like that. Our enrollment is currently 350 students for this coming school year, 176 7th graders and 174 8th graders. I've included our new staff members. We do still have open 2 paraeducator positions and an admin assistant position. that we posted for, and there are some upcoming dates. I did want to also mention I met with the Rotary this morning. We've been looking into a guest speaker that Brian Bumpus has been working with Jake and I on. Mark Lineweaver, he's a MLB agent for about 75 agents, but he's also put together this really great bullying awareness and prevention presentation.
What's his name?
Mark Lineweaver, he's from Why Character Matters. We'll have more information at our next board meeting, but I just wanted to put this out there that this is something Jake and I are working on, not only to kick off the year with some changes around our bullying policy coming, but just to be a little more intentional this year around bullying awareness and prevention. October is Bullying Awareness and Prevention Month, so we think the September 22nd date is a nice date to kind of kick that month off and be really intentional this year with conversations, bringing in a guest speaker that I think will really resonate with our students, considering his background is maybe not education, but athletics, and he has a really neat message. Again, we'll include some more information next month, his website and whatnot, but I think we're all pretty excited to bring Mark in.
Anybody have any questions? So, go ahead, Tom.
No, go ahead.
Couple of questions. In terms of the enrollment, is that around the number that you were expecting when you went into like the year, like, or were there move-ins or move-outs or a lot of changes in the enrollment numbers?
Well, our 7th grade number we were expecting, because it's sorry, our 8th grade number.
Well, it's who we have. I was just
Right.
wondering how many.
We've been roughly around that. We haven't been over 200 in my 5 years.
Yeah.
But that was somewhat what we were expecting. I guess I was expecting a little bit more.
Right. Okay.
So it is a little bit lower than I
Okay.
was expecting.
Just trying to figure out projections versus reality. And since you guys are on the ground, I thought I would ask that. And then my second question is related to the bullying presentation. Is there any thought or, consideration to try and do something not just for kids, but also maybe for the community adults? Get parents in the room so they have an understanding of definitions and, I don't know, stuff like that. Yeah.
I think some of that work is going to be maybe even sooner than that, depending on when policy updates come. Mark did say that he was planning to fly in the night before, and he'd be open to doing a parent presentation.
Mhm.
He also did give us the okay to record all presentations. We're going to do a 7th and 8th grade presentation and break out with leadership.
Mhm.
And then I think the high school,
9, 10,
9,
12.
yeah,
Okay.
and then some breakout, and we're allowed to record that and then share that out with parents
Oh,
in the
okay, that sounds
community
great.
as well.
Thank you. You had a question, Tom?
Yeah, I was just wondering, do you know if the the delay, I'll call them delay, are they delays with the facilities work, or is it just the sequence of events, i.e. is the level of completion what was anticipated, or are we seeing an extension of the overall schedule?
So it's what we were expecting, but based on our experience with the crane at the high school, if you recall at our facilities meeting, the scheduled days for the crane were in that week. And so I just don't feel comfortable having people potentially here and then cancel last minute. And then the other thought was, well, even if the crane was set, could we just open the south end of the building? And at the end of the day, it just didn't make sense to open part of the building, but students not be able to see the north end and where all their classes were. And I just thought it would be safer for everyone if we just chose not to move forward with those days. The crane days,
I just
We're-
didn't know if this was
yeah.
a sign that the schedule had slipped,
no, like I said, just with
just logistics.
logistics with the crane at the high school, getting the solar equipment on the roof created quite a few just like scrambling. We got to move, camp for this, and we're going to close the gym for this, and I just didn't want to do that again. So I felt
Like lessons learned as to how much berth the crane needs in terms of how much.
well, if the crane is there, then we don't want anybody in the building.
Right.
And so if the crane is delayed, and then I have to send a last minute cancellation,
Yeah,
That's
it's complicated.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other questions for Patrick or related to the middle
Makes
school
sense.
opening? Well, congratulations. Thank you to the custodians, because it's a lot of work that they've done all summer. And those pictures look like, well, the shiny floor looks really pretty.
Go this way, everything looks great and normal.
It really does.
The shine of our
Yes.
clothes. Okay, thank you. All right, and Jake, you are now up.
Yeah, we are open. Our opening days are also right around the corner. We're excited for our staff to return on Monday, August 31st. We will have our freshman and new student orientation day on Wednesday, September 2nd. Our first bell rings at 7:35 that day. They meet with us in the auditorium. We run them through their schedules. They meet their advisors. We feed them lunch. We do some games and activities, lockers, all that kind of good stuff. And buses pick them up at 12:15. And we're excited to welcome our new students and the class of 2030, which sounds like the future, into the high school. Our first full day of school for all grades 9 through 12 is on Thursday, September 3rd. We're going to run 7-period days on the 3rd and the 4th. Just a reminder to parents and students, there is no PLC Friday on Friday the 4th. So our school day will start at our regular 7:40 start time. More information is coming out and schedules from me tomorrow about all that. Our facilities work this summer. Picture there, our new looking makeover of our gym floor. It looks fantastic. Light wood, the blue paints, the multi, and a new logo in the middle. It looks really sharp. If you get a chance to check that out, it looks really nice. They've already broken it in with some basketball camps and volleyball practice and stuff. So it looks really nice.
Is that the blue we're leaning into, like a darker blue?
The Pantone is 7272DA or something. Like I've said it so many times over the past few weeks, but yes, that's our blue. That is
So like the blue that Patrick is wearing versus the blue that you're wearing.
yes,
There's two different blues,
Yeah.
but we're leaning more into your blue than
For
Patrick's
high
blue.
school.
yes.
For the high school,
For the high
okay.
And the Pantone for the middle school.
Oh, it is a different
matches-
color. I see.
And they're
Okay.
all tied to the SAU 41 tree.
Oh my gosh.
We rebranded.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Our building looks great. The custodian staff has done a wonderful job. Floors are ready, classrooms are ready. Everything looks really nice. If you walk around, you might see a few new murals on the wall. Mr. Etten, our assistant principal, got his Vincent van Gogh itch this summer and did some painting, and they look fantastic. So give a shout out to Mr. Etten as well this summer. So
He's good at math and art.
yeah, many things he's good at. And so we had the crane last week putting stuff up on the roof for the solar panels. I believe they were moving some rocks the last couple days, so that was a little loud. I'm glad we were at our district retreat in the building for that. So it looks great. Our enrollment numbers as of last week, total population at the high school of 737. 186 incoming freshmen, 173 sophomores, 183 juniors, and our class of 2027 sits at 195. We have 2 new teachers joining us this fall in math department, Jessica Schulte, and in English, Emily Skinnell. They're both veteran teachers coming and joining our staff. Really excited about having them. Important dates are listed there. We've started sports. We've got new higher orientation happening next week. We've got our staff days and everything kind of listed in there, and a lot more information about some specific things will be coming from me tomorrow. So keep an eye on your email, parents and community. And lastly, I've attached our student handbook and the handbook change sheet. Patrick did his last month. We had a few things left to work on, so I have that here, and I'll start with the report, and then we can talk about the handbook and stuff afterwards.
Your questions on the principal's report first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are there questions on the principal's report?
Just a general question on the schedule. Which day is the teacher welcome meeting?
yeah.
It's
Oh,
next Tuesday and
The
Wednesday.
31st is do you mean, are you talking about new higher orientation or talking about
No,
the
the
opening
thing
of school?
where
I invite
the
you?
assembly. Yeah.
I invite you.
August 31st. I have a draft email that I have.
Are you going to invite us?
Yes.
Okay, well, we don't know.
No, I'm inviting you.
And what's the start time? Do you know?
I do know. 7:45 to 8:15, refreshments will be served. 8:15 is the opening address. We are welcoming our smallest group of new hires this year. So we have the largest percentage of returning teachers in the past decade. So we're excited about that. The bulk of our new teachers are at the middle school.
Anyone hitting 50 years yet?
We already had someone
It was 50?
past 50.
57.
Oh,
55, 56.
I thought 56 last year or something.
Yeah.
like that.
Any other questions on the board report? So 737 is a little higher than I was expecting. I didn't think we were going to get close to 740.
I think we had I think the last number I heard was like a net gain of 5 students.
Yeah, I mean, I
from-
think NESDEC had us at staying around 720 for
Yeah.
quite a while. So it's not our highest numbers by any means. I mean, we've been higher before, but I was anticipating, based on NESDEC projections, to be in the 720s for a while. And
Yeah.
that's 737. It's only 17 students, but we only have 737 kids. Like, it's not bad.
It's a lot of excitement and buzz around the admin team and stuff at the high school, I hear.
Yeah, everyone wants to enroll.
Okay, that's what it is. Awesome. Any other questions on that? All right, moving on, we'll look at your change sheet, which is in the packet related to the handbook.
Yeah, so a lot of basic stuff at the beginning as far as, new letter from the principal, updating the list of admin and teachers, that sort of thing. The new bell schedule is in there that reflects our shift with advisory in Cav block. So we've updated some of that stuff. The biggest area you'll see some changes is we've tightened up and refined some of our consequences within the code of conduct and in the other areas.
And we have an actual page that's a code.
We have
of
an
conduct.
actual code of conduct in there now, and then in the discipline section, we've tightened up some of our consequences and when detentions happen and that kind of thing. The biggest change with those is we really reflected this summer about how things worked with cell phones, and strike 1 this happens, strike 2 this happens, strike 3 this happens. If we get to strike 4, it was pretty burdensome for teachers and administration to kind of navigate and keep track of and do. So we are having last year and a letter that will come from me in the next day or two serve as their last warning when it comes to cell phones. It's a strike and you're out situation. If your phone is out, it'll be confiscated for the day. You can pick it up at the end of the day. If it happens again, same thing, and we're adding a 60-minute detention. Happens a third time, same process, 90-minute detention, and a parent meeting where we really have to then create a behavior plan for not being able to follow a state law while within our building. So we really try to tighten that up based upon kind of how things went last year.
And when you say you pick it up at the end of the day, the student can pick it up at the end
The
of the
student
day?
can pick it up at the
Student
end of the
doesn't need a parent to pick it up.
Correct.
And that's all in keeping with the policy, right? Because
Correct.
we removed the consequences out of the
Yep,
policy.
we didn't change
so-
the policy at all,
So we
just
don't have to touch it.
updated our procedure for
Okay.
what that looks like.
Okay. Are there any questions on the changes and the student handbook? Okay, yeah, Rob? No?
No.
Okay. All right, moving on. We have, thank you very much, Jake and Patrick. We are now up to our data dashboard discussion, which I think is John Boucher is here, right?
Yes, so let me do a little introduction. This is John Boucher. He's our Director of Technology. He has been we've been thinking about the data dashboard for a year. We had planned to roll it out before the start of this school year. And then, of course, there was some discussion at some of our annual meetings around the petition warrant article about sharing data. So this was something that we had in the works already. As an admin team, we've been talking about monthly, like what should go on there, what's appropriate, what data do we want to share. It's still a work in progress. This is in its beta phase. Like I said, we'll post it to the public site before the start of school. We just wanted to give you a little preview. And it's easier to add content rather than have something and then remove it. So we figured we'd start with some data that we could all agree on and then move forward from there and see how it goes. John.
Excellent. Well, thank you for having me.
Should we kill the lights on by the board?
He has a microphone.
I have a microphone.
Do I know how to use the new lights?
That's what I don't know. Save those for the.
That was beautiful.
Looks great.
Perfect. So as Gina said, this is kind of our beta edition, ready to be published in a couple weeks, right at the start of school year. As she said, lots of discussions about what data belongs on here, but then how to present that data in a meaningful way. Most of the data that is on here is publicly accessible, most of it through the DOE. If you've ever tried to access data at the DOE, it's a bit cumbersome. I'm not sure if that's by design or not, but to collect that data and then present it in a way that makes some sense. So down the left-hand side of the screen, it starts off with an overview that basically gives a very quick description of what's found on every page with a link, when appropriate, to perhaps the DOE where the raw data was collected. So one of the things about data dashboards is, of course, you need to be able to keep it up to date, because if it's not kept up to date, then it's not a very useful tool. So everything is accessible this way.
Before you run away, just on the first sentence, I think you want to delete the first sources.
Should it be source?
The data presented in these pages are from several publicly available sources, so on.
That's a
The first occurrence of the word
take up
sources
that.
Oh,
Or
is
sources.
redundant.
okay.
Yes. So we will have down the left-hand side menu options. So it starts with the overview. That's where the link will initially take you. And then we're just going to work down the side of the page so we can see what type of information is available. So the first one is state testing. So when you click on state testing, it brings us over to the state testing page. I'm going to resize it. So we can look at some historical data to begin with. Math is on the left-hand side, ELA on the right-hand side, and I went back a few years because it's important to show the starts of trends, see some history with it. It is interactive in the sense that when you take your cursor and hover over numbers, they highlight so it's a little bit easier to read. ELA on the right-hand side, again, math on the left-hand side. Scrolling down the page, we can now take a look at where we stand in relationship to a bunch of other districts in the area. So you can pick a year, it defaults to 2025, and you can pick a grade. So since we're at the co-op, let's jump up to grade 8. Grade 8 happens to also have the science assessment. So the science data is populated over on the right-hand side. And this list auto sorts. Hollis Brookline Cooperative is always highlighted in blue, which matches the Pantones as well. State data is highlighted in gray. And it shows our relationship with respect to other districts. This is percent proficient, so these are levels 3s and 4s on the data. If you're interested in other years, you can simply switch to other years. Everything auto updates. And of course, as we get the data from the next year, typically around November, it would be updated with the newest sets.
Oh, one thing, if you just scroll up again, should it say Hollis Brookline Cooperative School District instead of Bedford School District?
Yes. I copied it.
So this just pulls from the state, so as the state changes, this will change?
No, so I pull the data from the state. So as the state publishes new data, I will pull it, and then on the back end of this is a series of spreadsheets that feed into this, so I can update that information from there. So that's the state testing. Enrollment data takes a look at across all of our districts. Defaults to the most recent year I have data for. So this is the 25-26 school year. We can see grade level from 0, which is kindergarten, through 6 of Brookline, Hollis, and then co-op, obviously, from grades 7 to 12. And if you're interested in the enrollments and in previous years, you can go back to previous years and the data updates.
Could you consider adding a note somewhere in the top area that just gives the most recent date from which you've pulled data, so that if someone's looking at it and they say it doesn't match, we can say this is when it was pulled, and that it'll sort of take that. You know where I'm going?
Yeah, so each of the pages, the data becomes available at a different point. So on each of the landing pages, we could identify
One of the
I was
the
just
month and
thinking
year when it's
that have a
updated,
field
yeah.
in the spreadsheet that it's pulling from that populates it, so when you do a spreadsheet update on the back end, one of the fields will be the date at which that update occurred.
We could do that.
I really like how you're presenting this data because it's very consumable. Is there a way to do something similar with the test scores? Because for me, it was a wall of numbers. And if there's a way to, I don't know how much work that would take, but if there's a way to do it that's not too much work, plus the consistency from a user experience, I'm seeing a lot of data, but I'm seeing it in a consistent format rather than, state testing. I see a lot of schools and a lot of numbers.
Are you looking for cohort over time data, or how third grade looks 23, 24, 25?
Yeah, like if I'm looking for a particular grade, maybe it's bringing that data into some sort of graphical form rather than just tables.
Right, but because this is something we've been talking about for months,
Yeah.
how, if you're not a data person, how do we make it
Right.
the most consumable? And so this is just, I guess, are we looking at sixth grade over time or this cohort
Right.
over time? What
Right.
is it that you're
Or are
looking
you
for?
looking at all the grades at a snapshot in time like you did on the next page?
Right, and we can
Right.
we can do it. I
would
just
love
don't
to see. So I feel like one of the things that's missing. I'm not on the microphone. I feel like one of the things that's missing when people talk about testing, when they get up at our meeting, is they talk about a moment, a day
Yeah.
that these kids took the test. But what our teachers are doing is working with those kids so that those scores can to see growth, right?
Over a year.
So I would love to see some sort of something that shows cohorts over time, because when someone looks at sixth grade, they'll see like this 52, 7, like they'll
It's a
see those
data point.
numbers, data point. But what we want to see is like where that sixth graders, where they came,
thing.
Where they're
Yeah.
going.
how they,
Yeah.
move them up to seventh grade, where they
So
came in
class
eighth
of
grade.
28, class of
Yeah,
28.
a little bit of that. I don't know if you wanted to do all of it, but something like that would be,
Mm-hmm.
I think, really helpful.
I think, but if you've got this, if you've got all the data there, and it's just an issue of making a couple of additional pages, you could have a sub-menu that says by grade, by cohort, by
Right.
year.
Yeah, I wouldn't get rid of this.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because
Some
there
people
may
want
be
people
people
want it
who
that way.
want that
Yeah.
and want the data that way.
Mhm.
But for somebody who wants a high level, like what's third grade doing? Or what's, and can see that and have those options to look at this kind of complicated data in a different way.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily have a solution. but
No,
it's
this is
just-
helpful. Like I said, we've been going back and forth for months, trying to figure out what is
Yeah.
helpful for people.
Well, I think it's important for people to understand that we're teaching kids and educating kids, and they're growing and they're changing, and and sometimes we might see that they're not successful. A cohort might not be as successful, and that we have to be transparent about that. But we have to show what we can show, which is growth. Because tests mean nothing if they don't show us how they did over time.
Okay. Moving on. Below, and it's hard to see on the screenshot. I promise it's much clearer on a screen, but I can zoom in. So school-wide enrollment by year. So this is in order from the 22-23 school year, so you can just see total enrollment from the school.
So that's interesting. 706 that's going to go up to the 737.
Right. So we're going to bounce back. We're going to be really close to that.
Yeah, if you recall, I kept mentioning last year's senior class was an incredibly small class, one of the smallest, well, the smallest one in a decade.
And what, middle school's at 350.
And now they're graduated.
So that's declining a little.
And this is also the October 1 beginning of year data.
Right. But
And
is
I
that
referenced
usually-
that
Is that
date.
usually higher or lower than opening day, or isn't there a usual?
So what we find is opening day is usually higher because Some families who've chosen to transfer out or go to homeschool or any number of options haven't notified us. So we don't know that. And, they might hold a complete schedule, and it's not until they don't show up on the first day that we find that out.
Okay, moving on. Athletics. This is most applicable to the co-op. So I worked with Brian Bumpus to get athletic data. So it starts off with, shows a graph of both the high school and the middle school participants in all sports programs, but you can drill down. So if I'm interested perhaps in girls soccer, I can click girls soccer, and now I can see the participants for girls soccer, both the high school and the middle school over the last several years. If I'm interested in combinations of sports, I can do that. So if I'm just interested in anybody doing soccer, I could scroll down to boys soccer and add them in there too. So it can be additive, or I can look at one sport at a time. And if it's only at one school, then the other school just disappears. So I can see, for instance, what the football participants numbers have been. Scrolling down the page, this is back to a table, and we've played around with this as a graph as well, kind of going back to that last conversation we had, trying to make it the most accessible to everybody. So this is participation, and it's broken up by total team participants versus unique student participants, because oftentimes we have a student in multiple teams, right? And so then it compares it to high school enrollment, and then we have the percentage of students on an athletic team at the high school. So we can see that over time as well. Moving on to co-curricular activities. So this is band and chorus. So we can pick the activity. It's broken up MS for middle school, HS for high school. So if I'm interested in 8th grade chorus, I can see now the participation in 8th grade chorus over the past several years. And it works the same way as the previous page. If I'm interested in how many kiddos took chorus at the middle school, I can select both of them and get the total number. Or I could choose concert choir, let's say at the high school, and pick concert choir and see what participation is there. Yeah.
Are there any other co-curricular activities that should be on this list? Not just band and chorus, but should there be like robotics on this list, or some of our other larger scale co-curricular activities that have been topics of conversation in the past? Or
Yep, so that we will be adding that data. This is easy to pull because it's from PowerSchool.
Okay.
And it's just an enrollment in a course. We are looking into adding range of participants for all of our clubs. Because maybe September, everyone wants to go to French club because they're making crepes, but then they stop showing up later on. And then they, at the end of the year, the advisors completed a survey partially to look at the stipends, but then partially to look at how many students on average over the course of the year are participating in this. And so it's going to be less specific, but range of like participants per club.
okay, and not to be
These are from classes. They're
right.
not
So that's what I
co-curricular.
was just going to say. So not to be fussy, but like, not every kid who
Sure.
is in
Yep.
band
Good
is
point.
actually doing after school band. So are these co-curricular activities, or is this just visual and performing? Is this just performing arts? Are we just having like, we could have a performing arts tab, but I think it's important for people to, because that's been one of the biggest issues we've had is the
Yep.
the conflation of the curricular aspects of performing arts versus the co-curricular aspects.
Versus extracurricular. So
Right.
yeah, so we'll filter through those.
Is co-curricular
Words.
considered both?
With courses.
The
co-
with
Extracurriculars like after school clubs.
extras, okay, all right.
But if it's in Power School,
That's co-curricular.
it's a course, though,
Okay.
right?
It's a course.
So that's
It's curricular.
co-curricular.
Correct.
So these are things that
Oh, I thought co-curricular
I
was
thought,
it's not, okay.
because we were told the co-curricular supports an academic area,
It does,
but it
correct.
doesn't include the classroom portion of it.
So that's where, so here's, we'll leave that to you.
Yep.
But that's something you guys could like dig into for us, because that's confusing for me. Like I feel like that course is the course, and then I know they have stuff that they do at night related to like
Well,
middle
related
school
to the
course.
course, right.
Right, so I thought co-curricular meant not of the classroom, but I'm not, I
And
guess
if
I
that's
was.
So
something that's not
extracurricular
required.
is something that's not connected to a course per se.
correct.
So the extracurricular would be purely an after-school club that's not connected to a course.
Okay, so that would be like robotics and those
Yeah.
kinds of
And,
things.
and, well,
Wait a
and,
second,
well,
though.
and even for performing
don't
arts,
have a course.
like
We don't have a
the
course
school
anymore.
musical wouldn't be co-curricular,
Right,
that would be
right, okay.
extracurricular.
All right,
Do you know what I
then,
mean?
But-
forgive me then, I
Yeah,
had
but
the
what-
wrong definition of what co-curricular
And I'm
was
not
in
sure
my
you,
brain.
I'm not sure you
No.
did, because like, some of the
gonna
band
look up
stuff, some of the bands, it doesn't matter what it
Yeah.
is, so long as we're all
On the same page, yeah.
speaking the same language, because many of the meetings that occurred, a clear distinction was made between stipended positions for
Yeah.
co-curriculars.
Extracurriculars.
No,
No,
we called them co-curriculars,
It's tricky.
and
It's tricky.
and salaried positions for the classroom activity. And I just want to make sure that if we're in a co-curricular tab, John, could you please put up the menu of what they can pick from?
Like the drop down?
Yeah. No,
Oh,
no,
I'm sorry.
For the
Co-curricular.
co-curricular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is exclusively band and chorus. Correct.
But
Yeah.
if any of these are considered classes
They all are.
that are taught by a salaried staff position, as opposed to the co-curricular activity, which is
Stipend.
staffed by a stipended position, I'm uncomfortable having the classroom activity appear under this heading.
Yeah, so to your point, and I hear you because I understand what you're saying now, this is purely the course, the co-curricular experiences that exist for the festivals and those things that only the students in these courses have the opportunity to go to the majority of those. Those would be the co-curricular activities if we wanted to highlight that data.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So this I agree with you. This looks like it's purely just the course enrollment. So this is more enrollment in these courses, but the co-curricular activities, and I can name them, festival,
So then
all state,
that's-
all that.
that's not the right
That
title.
would be, so I don't think that's the right title. So that would be the co-curricular activities. If you go to the All New England, you go to Monadnock, you go to
But you can still
whatever
do
they
those
are.
without
So
being
is it-
enrolled in those courses.
is it-
Not
Fair.
necessarily, some of them yes, some of them no.
Predetermined, they
Yes.
just have to be connected to the
Some,
school.
correct.
So
Some of
it-
them, for all state, yes, that is
Is
accurate.
it fair to say that what we're seeing right now would be considered curricular?
This is course enrollment,
now.
yes. This is purely enrollment,
Right.
course enrollment.
So that's the confusion.
Yes.
So we
Yep.
just need to clarify that, and
Yeah.
then if you do pull up and create a co-curricular
with those activities.
data,
Yeah.
I think it's important to bring in some other,
Yeah.
or
Almost
maybe to
like a
have an
sub-tab.
extracurricular tab too.
Yeah.
I just feel like I don't want to just be focused on
Yep.
performing arts and not
Right.
all the other
Yeah.
pieces
And
that
this
kids are
is-
engaged in.
Yeah, this is, this all the performing arts?
No, this is just,
band
This is just band and chorus, choir.
Okay, I didn't know.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jake.
Moving down the page, we have percent of students participating in middle school band and chorus and high school band and chorus. And then finally, we have graduation data. So looking just at right now, HBHS graduation rate in comparison with the state graduation rate.
When, on the state testing, can we identify which ones are the default state tests and versus the ones where we use the SAT?
SAT is the default state test for 11th grade
For us, it is.
for the state of New Hampshire.
It is now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, because what I'm wondering is, I don't know if you want to broaden the title of this from graduation data to something more encompassing, but some of the other non-state measurements.
Yeah, we were looking at adding all of our AP testing results, the question is, it becomes really cumbersome. I mean, we could just do the same kind of graph that we have in our school profile, but we could also drill down to course performance, you know, like AP US history, AP world history, and look at that over time. But it becomes really a lot of information, and it's difficult to look at. But that is something that we have, and we're talking about adding. But
This is just a
what's the
start.
best way to present that without it just being so much information you can't read through it?
I have one more question about state testing. Is there any way to put the data in one of the conversations and one of the things that Tom did in the presentation at the annual meeting was talk about our,
Opt-outs?
thank you, the opt-out numbers and how to get that data out to folks to have an understanding of the impact of opt-outs on our tests, on all the tests. Is there a way to do that?
We could do participation. Absolutely.
Just a question. I don't know how that would look and if that would help or not, but.
I don't know if that gives anyone ideas.
I think it all looks great.
The
I mean,
graphics are good.
Are you done with it? Can I move back to my seat?
Absolutely. I don't want to blind you.
Like, I'm done out.
And like we said, this is still in the beta mode where there's, things are getting thrown in here and there, and we are adjusting colors. We're adjusting, in particular with the page currently titled co-curricular activities in athletics. We have similar data, but one's represented in a graph, one's represented in a table. We keep on going back and forth, and which is the most meaningful. And
Are there any comments, other comments or questions?
Yeah, have you done
Make
any
sure you're talking to the mic, Tom.
I'm talking to him, I don't care about Mike. Have you done any mobile testing of this yet?
no.
Okay, I would ask that you do, and I don't know if there's a plugin or something that would perhaps reformat it, but I can say with high confidence that this will be accessed on phones pretty regularly.
Do you want to know the important question? Where could you find this?
Right now, I hope you can't.
You can't, but where would you be able to find it?
So the SAU 41 school district webpage, we were thinking, sorry, after I told you could move back.
It's okay.
Under our
Actually,
district,
comfortably like this.
under our district, we can take up one of these slots right here to add the data dashboard. And then at every single school, we have an R school, and there's an empty slot right there that we can add it to. So very similar place.
I
of
would rather
object.
see it a direct link on each page.
But where?
Can have it before or after that, the for to the right of resources or to the left of our school, or under or on the blue top banner bar, or any place you want it, but I would like to see a direct link to
Yeah, I don't know that we can.
Huh?
I said I don't know that we can, based on what we're allowed.
Allowed by whom?
The website company.
Domain.
I actually kind of disagree with you. I think data is important, but I think everything that we do is important, and the fact that it's underneath our school and in that list of other things that talks about our staff. I mean, it talks about our calendar and events and announcements and our staff and our newsletters and all of that. And data is a part of that, but it's not necessarily more important than that. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
That's my take. That's my kids say.
Yeah.
That's my hot take.
and my my counter to that is that may be your belief, but the thing is, I don't know I don't think that would be an intuitive place to look for.
Okay.
And that's the problem that we run into, is if people don't find it quickly and easily, they say it's not there.
It would be searchable though.
Maybe after we launch it, we could have a pop-up on the website for a few times, kind of announcing where it is, the
Yep.
location.
Yeah, pop-ups are always helpful for a while.
Yeah.
At a minimum, I would think go to resources. Because that's data downloads.
Maybe we can put it in both places.
No, I'm just saying you definitely want it on resources. But if you can get it on there, just a click button, I would advocate for it.
Yeah,
In
I
fact,
do
I
think
am
we're
advocating for it.
just having built this. I'm pretty confident we were limited And so we had to limit our scope as to what we were going to call those 4 spots.
Yep.
And the 3 spots up top.
Is that
But-
because of, they have a very structured template that you have to fit within?
Yes.
Yes.
What's down at the bottom? Can you go all the way to the bottom of the page? Okay.
I'll just look at it while I'm.
That, do these pull, or is this a separately constructed menu, do you know?
What do you mean, Paul?
I don't know.
Under parents and
So those pull
students,
from the topic.
does it pull from, you were
No,
created-
I mean, but we could put a link here and a link up there easily.
Okay.
Multiple links, many links. Any other questions or comments?
Well done. This
Well
is-
done, John. This is great.
Good.
It's great.
I did open it up on my phone just as a quick check, and it's actually quite nice. I mean, it is the web page, but it's pretty easy actually to zoom in and out, so you can see the tables pretty clearly.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well,
the graphs
I'm
that-
not saying it would, I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that we do that test.
And the pull down menus, even though they're smaller on the screen, when you click them, it's actually nice and big, so you can scroll through it. So it's
Okay.
actually not that bad.
Great. Thank you so
It
much.
is a Google product that we use to build it, so
Are you looking on an Android or an Apple?
Apple.
Oh, cool. So Google, what would be your roadmap for actually releasing this?
For what?
Really.
Releasing it.
Like, how are we going to roll it out?
No, when
Timing.
is it? Yeah.
Oh, timing. Oh, we wanted to do it at the start of school, when school started.
So it's in beta now. What are the next steps between
We'll
what
fix
we're
it.
seeing now and release?
Fix the
Anything?
errors that you guys identified. And Hollis didn't identify any of those. Good job.
Look at us, superstars. You'd have to
And
go to
then-
Brookline.
And
they
then
might
make
find
some,
out.
yeah, Brookline, but make some adjustments. And then, like I said, it's easy enough to add to it over time. It's harder when it's presented one way and then you change it. So I'd rather,
When you say
clean up-
harder, you mean acceptance is difficult. It's technically not harder.
no, right. So it's more of a challenge for the community to think that something was there and then it's gone now.
To lose something than to
Right. And so I'd
And that makes
rather,
people suspicious as well because
Right.
they think, "Why'd you take that down?
Yeah.
Was that not right, or was it in the
because they're
packet,
hiding it.
or
Right.
we're hiding it?"
so
or
I'd like
whatever.
to clean up what we have. And then, I'm not so worried about having everything present and on the dashboard September 2nd
Do you want what you put up there to be accurate,
and clean.
appropriate,
Yeah.
and clear? And then if you have other ideas or we have other ideas, we can add stuff to it as we move on. But you'd rather not put something up there that's kind of messy,
Yeah.
and then have it be a
Exactly.
problem and then have other people say like, "Where'd that go?"
Exactly.
I gotcha.
And we've been tinkering probably every day. I've been in there tinkering and changing language and moving things around, and obviously that'll stop. Once it's published. So yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I
Yeah,
mean,
thank you.
I think this has been asked for years and years, so this is great that it'll be like up and running. That's awesome. Thank you.
Our lifetime.
And I wasn't trying to be mean about data. I just don't like it as much as some people.
He's very offended.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much. Okay, where are we now?
FY25 audit.
Okay, the audit update, which we just got hot off the presses.
Holly, close input.
Oh, thank you. And I am now closing public input, Dawn, at 6:58 p.m. So there's lots of time to have gotten down here if you needed it. All right, so moving on to discussion. We're in discussion. I'm sorry, I'm a little confused today. The FY25 audit update.
So I just wanted to share that the final report has been posted, but that this is a FY25 audit, so over a year ago. It's when the auditors were on site a year ago in August. The report is complete. It's there. We're not going to go through it. It's always published on the website. You can see all the years located. I just felt like we got the report, and I just thought it'd be nice to also put it in the board packet at the same time as our FY26. So it was posted like this afternoon. I thought it was already there, and it wasn't. We've been on the retreat, so if you refresh, it would be linked to the agenda. But anyway, the FY26 audit, the auditors were on site the first week of August, And they actually, so normally they take 5 days, sometimes go into a sixth day. This year, right around lunchtime on day 4, they were done. And it was the easiest audit they'd ever had with us. They had a couple of small changes, as they always do, ready on Friday the 7th. And normally they're working for days afterwards, providing us with, movements and all that kind of good stuff. So I am incredibly impressed and pleased with the results of that audit. And obviously I have the business office to thank.
Yeah, congratulations to them.
Great.
They were in a lot of transition this year, and
Yep.
that's amazing. That's really great news.
Yeah, so that's all great.
But the audit that's in our report is not the one that you're just referred to. This is the one from last
A
year.
year ago.
Okay.
Right, it takes them
A whole year.
11 months to write the report. Yeah,
Are there any questions on this?
great.
Thank you for presenting. Moving on. Thank you for that. We are now up to summer update, staffing and facilities.
Okay, so the principal's reports did most of the updates. Like I said, we have quite a few new hires at the middle school, only 2 new teachers at the high school. Given our consent agenda with a recent resignation in our English department, knowing that we had some flexibility with available teaching slots, we're looking to fill that internally with existing staff and not having to hire another teacher for that. And so we're still shuffling things around and working with department chairs. Jake and Yolanda are working hard to get all of that set. And so some students will notice some shifts in their teachers that are assigned to them.
So can I ask a more specific question on
Yes.
that? I don't know if, does that mean that some teachers might end up teaching like an extra period outside of their, contractual 5 periods?
They
or-
might teach outside of their
Certification.
certification, but no one will have an extra class outside.
We
of
whave to
that.
pay someone for an
Correct.
extra class. Okay. And we won't need to bring in any kind of long-term sub.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Are there any questions on that? No. Okay, moving on. Student support services in schools. This is Lauren.
So I drafted just a 1-page memo for you guys to take a look at regarding a potential partnership with Greater Nashville Mental Health. So the administration is considering allowing some therapy services to take place in the school during the school day. As it outlines here, this is not being provided by our district. It's not being funded by our district. It is simply a location for students to receive therapeutic services when there are barriers for them to receive therapy or support outside of the school day. So I've listed, down here a lot of the barriers that we're seeing with after-school counseling appointments being limited, often being booked, with parents, with transportation barriers. Students may lose instructional time if they have to leave and come back during the school day. The partnership is really to provide a designated confidential space within our school building. Services are only available with parent and guardian consent and by referral only. The Greater Nashville would determine the clinical eligibility, provide the treatment. They maintain all records. It is provided through parent insurance, and it's billed directly to the family, so the school has no portion of that whatsoever. The school staff would be the ones to liaison and make the referrals as needed to the Greater Nashville Mental Health provider.
Great.
Okay, so I just wanted to bring this up for discussion, get, some feedback from the school board. This would be at the high school only.
Any questions? So, my question, is the school in any way liable?
No, and so we have a memorandum of understanding that we would be entering into, and it outlines all of those components.
Where would you anticipate it taking place?
The location, likely in the school counseling office, but we have not determined that at all, and that's going to be in corroboration with the administration.
I'm just wondering if this were accessed with as much frequency as you would hope it could be, would we have to find alternative dedicated space to not impact other services?
Potentially. I mean, that's something, again, we wanted to kind of, have this discussion, and then we'd look at those next steps to see where we would have that. It would be once a week for a designated period of time. So this would not be a daily service. This would not be something that would, occur to that level of frequency likely. But we could talk about where that space would be.
So you're thinking like one therapist would come once a
Correct.
week and
Correct,
provide
for designated
multiple,
hours of time.
maybe a few
Sessions.
sessions.
Correct. It would probably
to
be
some
likely
designated
three
students.
to 3.5 hours.
And if there were more people seeking to access the service than were available in that slot, how might you decide who gets access to it?
So that's the referral system, working closely with our school counselors and our social worker to determine that need and make the referrals to Greater Nashville Mental Health. And we'd have an internal process for that piece of it. The therapy, again, also may not be a student seeing the therapist for a whole year. It may be for a segmented period of time. So there would be a wait list involved as well as we look at slots and openings.
And who's managing all of that
As far as the referral process,
as far as
our
the
social-
wait lists and the
our social worker.
Just
She would be our designated point of contact. I apologize.
no,
Thank you. Yeah.
please finish.
Yeah. That was it. She would be our designated point of contact.
So just in case people are thinking at home, watching us, are there any budgetary impacts for this program?
None at all.
Has has there been any outreach to the potential customers for this service to find out if there's any interest in it?
It has come up in conversation as parents have expressed to us a lot of these barriers and what's going on, and if there was ever anything that could be available. And surrounding districts do partner with Greater Nashville Mental Health as well, and we've gotten some feedback from them on how it's been working.
Gina, does this require any board action to implement, or?
No.
I just wanted to make sure
No,
it
no, I
was
just
discussed
wanted to
publicly
understand.
and that there was a general feeling of support to move forward.
I mean, I feel like
I like it.
you're always good at creative ways to help our students, and that's, I think, one of the things that our district does really well. And this seems like a creative, solution that would help some of our kids. It wouldn't help all of them, but it would help some of them, those who have who are experiencing these kinds of barriers.
No, absolutely.
And,
What I like about it is that it directly addresses one of the perpetual comments I have, that we've been placing increasing burden on our professional staff to provide services that they're not necessarily equipped to deal with, but are necessary in the schools. And this seems like a very good opportunity to address the need and remove some of that burden from the professional staff.
agreed. It's great. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for presenting that.
You're much appreciated. Thank you.
I don't think you're getting any perspective awards. You're good. Moving on. Subcommittee for grading and assessment. That's what's next on the list.
Yep.
Am I talking about that?
We would like to bring back the grading and assessment subcommittee.
I'm on board.
And in order to do so, we would be looking for some board members who might be interested in participating in that subcommittee.
So, do we have any idea when these meetings would be and how many board members would be necessary? Would these be after school meetings, evening meetings, or during the school day meetings? Because that's what board members need to know.
Yeah.
They just need to know in terms of their availability. Like, they need to know when they're going to be.
Uh,
Because if not, it's going to be me. Because I seem to be available.
I believe in our subcommittees, in years past, we had one board member on the subcommittees. We had multiple on the overall.
We had two on the one that I was.
I feel like I had 2 on mine as
We,
well.
I think we usually have 2.
Okay.
I think we can have just one. I mean, it's fine. We don't need to have
We
more
had
than
3
one.
on the steering committee.
Right,
and-
the steering committee
And
had-
generally, at least
We had
2.
we had 3 on the start time.
On the
Yeah.
weighted and unweighted, I feel like we had 2.
On the
There was
advisory, it was Kate and me.
Who's on?
I feel like grading and assessment only had one or maybe
Well,
one.
Krista,
Yeah, maybe
no,
I
I think,
wasn't.
I think Krista was on it, and Beth maybe
Yeah.
was on grading it.
Okay.
Grading assessment. So I think 2's great, but if people are limited in time, 1's fine. But any idea what this would be in terms of a time frame?
Historically, they were this subcommittee, just because I participated in it, was right after school.
Jake?
How many times a month?
No more than once a month.
And the goal of this committee obviously has to be developed by the committee, but the work is about looking at,
So we had developed
thank you.
we had developed the purpose of grades, the purpose of a grade. And then the next work would be looking at assessment, looking at the purpose of common assessments, practices, aligning practices across a course, regardless of the teacher. And then sort of establishing some school-wide, a school-wide philosophy around retakes and,
Yeah. So
the learning process.
rewrites, retakes,
Mhm.
opportunities to build on success. I got
would
it.
support the creation of the committee if there is a well-defined deliverable to the school board with a defined date.
So I would agree that we need a deliverable, but I think it needs to be developed by those on the committee. And we can bring that back to the school board.
I'd almost think that it's this board's responsibility if we're chartering it and we want it. I mean, we could take their input, but I think
So
why if it's going to be a board driven subcommittee.
I believe that there was a purpose developed by it so maybe we need to bring that back for next month, like what the purpose that was
Like a
developed.
charter.
Well, there was I know that the
What are we
committee
fixing?
themselves worked on creating a purpose, like a purpose of grading, right? The purpose of grading.
Yep.
So we don't have that in front of us, so it would be good to see that, and then we could. Do you need approval on this tonight? No.
Were
No,
you
but I do
hoping
think
for approval tonight?
Were you hoping for approval tonight?
I was hoping to get people together to start the conversation because this is so much more nuanced than start time or top 10 because
Or
this-
even waiting versus
Yeah.
unwaiting, or even advisory?
Yeah,
That's like, are we going to do it or are we not?
right. So,
yeah.
so this is going to be like a shift in philosophical approach potentially for a lot of teachers and sharing that with families. I don't know that it's as black and white as I would like any committee to be, right? Like we're not coming with a proposal for a bond. That would be easier. So this work is challenging. And if you recall, the last time we had the committee, I believe it was 2 years for us to come up with one statement. I'd like to move at a faster pace than that, but I don't know that coming back with that purpose of grading is going to give us a clear-cut answer as to the charter. But I do think a conversation offline with a group of people that are interested in this work, and maybe the group of people said, you know what, there's no work to be done, or we're not interested in moving forward. But I don't think it's something that should be developed by one person, like let's say Dot as assistant superintendent of curriculum, to be handed down to a committee. I think there needs to be collective buy-in and thought. That's my opinion.
Do you see this as starting out addressing the question about competency-based grading? Or is that a downstream question?
I think that's a downstream question.
This is a messy topic.
Yeah.
Well, the reason, but it fundamentally puts you in one of two camps. And it's almost the kind of thing that if you haven't addressed it and you're trying to address any other topic in both contexts, that to me sounds extremely difficult.
This is a difficult topic, and there are a lot of different beliefs and philosophies around it. And it's almost like we need to form the committee and tackle the first question about what is the purpose of grading. And until you can come to a common understanding on that, you really can't move forward with some of the other pieces.
So if they've already come up with that purpose, the last
Yeah, I
committee.
don't know what's already
So
formed.
maybe we need to look at that, but also what I'm hearing, and I could be hearing this wrong, is that So the committee comes up with this idea of what the purpose of a grade is, but then we have to bring the staff in so that they all understand that like we're sort of tweaking the purpose of how the purpose of grading, our philosophy of grading. So part of it is committee work, educating staff, hearing back from staff, more committee work. Is that,
And
is
it's
that,
and it's going to happen on multiple levels. I mean, just at our leadership retreat this week, we started to tackle the muddy waters of what do we mean by rigor, and what does that mean for expectations. So there's a lot of tenets that become intertwined.
and I know that a big part of what I've heard, because Krista was on it and so she and I chatted about it quite a bit, is that there's a lot of conversation related to like soft skills of like work ethic and how much that plays into whether or not that should be reflected in a grade, and then actual skills, which obviously, should reflect in grades, and how do we make sure kids get those. And so there's a lot of
That
nuance
becomes the
and
messiness
very
of it.
and people have very strong feelings about
One way or the other.
right, and they get really frustrated about the fact that you could possibly be watering down grades. So
Should
or
grading just be test scores? Should it include all of those other things like effort and soft skills?
right,
And if you do retakes, does the new grade replace the old grade? And are we looking at progression of learning versus just a snapshot of when you did it, did you know what was on the test?
Right,
So there's
right.
lots of different layers.
Yeah, just looking at the Grading and Assessment Subcommittee had its first meeting October 21st, 2019. And it produced the statement of the purpose of grading August 15th, 2023.
So I think but I think that's why Tom wants us to have something more concrete, because that was a lot of like a long time to get
2
to.
years of not coming.
It was 4 years, 3.5 years of not. Well, we had 2020.
COVID.
come in there.
COVID,
Yeah,
yeah.
so there were 2 years of not. So I think maybe the people who are educators are the best people to guide us as to what would be the most appropriate way to approach this, but we have to then decide as a board which direction it goes, I guess.
Okay.
What I'm wondering is, what is triggering the desire to have this subcommittee work done? Is this coming from the board? Is this coming from the
Yeah, I'm
administration?
kind of feeling like maybe is this a board committee, or is this a committee that has to happen without us? Like,
Well, more importantly, I'm just trying to find out, is this a, what is the perceived need
Yeah.
that you're trying to address by having this committee? Is it that you're trying to respond to the public? Is it that you're having difficulty generating curriculum? Is it that you've got staff discontent? What's
Yeah,
the
what's the
problem?
I think a
drivers?
lot of it's rooted in our philosophy of meaning all means all and consistency of experience. And if the three of you are all teaching geometry and I have 3 friends, we could all get a B in that course. And what we did and the experience we had and what we learned could be very different. So it doesn't mean anything. So there's no context to what does a B mean. So a parent see a report card and they say B, they think that's good, but what does that really tell you about what your student learned? It doesn't tell you
So
anything.
from what you've expressed, I'm hearing 2 things. One is, how do we maintain consistency among grades, and what does the grade communicate?
Yeah, so the statement about the purposes of grade identifies that it's
What
supposed to
should it communicate?
Right. And that the purpose is to communicate information. The hard part now is relating that to instructional practices. And in my opinion, that's the purpose of the Instructional Practices Committee. And then this was a subcommittee specifically looking at grading and assessment and looking at common assessments. And are are the assessments that we are giving, are they meaningful? Is it a waste of time? Are we checking a box? Or is it truly giving information about what a student knows and can show? It doesn't have to be a board committee, but
Is
under
that
the
more like
framework.
PLC work, or is that like
No.
each department? It's
No.
it's not. Okay.
It has to be bigger than that for it to be done well.
Right.
And like I said, it doesn't have to be, but given the framework of the fact that we have an instructional practices committee, or we've had one in the past,
We don't have
with-
one right now, right?
with the subcommittees under it, it
Right.
falls directly under that. But if we're not looking to continue to make it a board committee, you'd rather have it be a district committee that we report out on.
No,
That makes it easy.
I mean, I know that one of the complaints that I've heard and that I experienced while I had students here is that there's an inconsistency in philosophies from different educators. Some educators think that, like, if you do all of your homework, then you can drop a quiz grade or you can retake a test. But a kid in the same exact class might not have that experience, but they're taking the same maybe common assessment at the end of a unit. Like, so the kids themselves have been frustrated with that lack of consistency. Like, that doesn't seem fair, and they don't really understand. And so I do think that there's definitely a conversation that needs to be had and a committee, and I do think it's important to have students and community members on that, because families, parents. And once you start to invite students and parents, then I do think board members we need ears in the room so that we can bring that back to the board, because it's,
I'm not sure that the first conversation that you described does have to have community and students in it.
I'm just saying, once we start having community and
Yeah.
students involved, then I think we need to have board members involved. But
But I think
maybe the way to do this is I didn't even know the difference between co-curricular and extracurricular until tonight. So I feel like maybe the people who are experts on education should kind of develop like what you want, and then we can commit. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
or at least what
It's
they're
kind of
doing.
like the facilities committee, right? We
Right.
do all the heavy work and then we put it together and then we bring it.
Right. I think
Oh.
I think the board and the community needs to get involved, but I just don't know if we need to get involved until we know what we need to get involved with.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Fair
And I
enough.
think
Yeah.
when you have a kind of a messy, big committee like this, with the topic big, I mean, not necessarily the size, but if you think about what you want at the end, this isn't going to be a 1-year committee, right? But you need to have your end goal as to what it is that you want to accomplish, and then have set yearly goals for what you'll accomplish during that school year.
So,
or
like-
you can just spin your wheels.
I would,
When Jake suggested the Visual and Performing Arts Committee, he presented us with like a layout of like what he would be doing over the course of the year to solve to look into the issue of how we got here in
Right,
terms of
road
visual and
mapping,
performing
yep.
arts, and road mapped it out for us. So maybe we need a little bit more of that, because I just hesitate, like, I don't know all this stuff, and I think as a board member, we can learn really fast, but clearly it took 2.5 years, so we need some more direction.
I
Or
think
you think
I
we
think
need-
it's not that it's not a messy and complex issue, but I think that the path can be simpler than what I hear being described. In that, the first and fundamental thing that there seems to be is there needs to be complete agreement, not just majority agreement of how do we implement anything uniformly among multiple classes of the same thing.
Agreed. And that seems very basic. And that is not.
Oh,
I mean,
No, it doesn't seem basic at all.
It becomes. Do you become dictatorial, or
Right.
do you try to build consensus and compromise?
Right, and that's what takes time. It's not. Yeah, we can absolutely do that. It's just it's hard to say this is our end goal because then I'm predetermining what that goal is,
Yeah,
and you
that's
need
really
to
tricky.
gain consensus
Yeah.
on where it is that we want to go, and we feel we as a community can go. But I'll work with Dot, and we'll come up with something. We did have a purpose for that committee years ago. Obviously, it took time. Part of it was COVID. Part of it was some years it only met once. So there were a lot of reasons why it took a long time. And the committee members changed over that period of time. I want this committee to meet consistently so that the conversation doesn't die out over time. But I think there's a level of urgency for it, and I think it's incredibly important work that touches upon all the other things we're trying to do. So it's really important for me to move forward with this, and Dot and I can spend some time
This is
putting
a
our thoughts.
national discussion though, isn't it?
What's that?
This is a national discussion.
Right.
And isn't there's part of the Ed 306 law that requires us to be competency-based, but we kind of are competency-based because competencies are built into our curriculum, and is that what that means? And
Yeah, and they've been around since 2009. So we've already have competencies built into our curriculum. We don't do competency-based grading.
and the law isn't telling us that we have to do competency-based grading.
No.
We just have to have competencies built into our curriculum. Okay.
But you also have to have all the staff buy in to whatever your
Whatever we're
determination
doing,
is
yeah.
at the end, and that's where it becomes very difficult,
Well,
because
and
everybody has
it's like a
individual,
personal thing.
right,
You're
everybody
not-
has individual ways that they want to teach and grade.
And we can't decide the end result. Like when we started the advisory committee, it wasn't, we are having an advisory committee to put in advisory. It was, we're gonna have an advisory committee to look at whether or not advisory will work for us. And then once we got to that point where the committee really felt like we should move forward, then it was not just the what, but the how. How are we gonna get there? So, you're right, we can't like, this is the deliverable and this is the decision we want you to make, so.
Well, there is a concrete deliverable.
Right.
It's abstract.
Right, I understand.
But
Okay,
so
so
why
we'll come
can't
back.
that be stated?
So Dot and I will come back the next month.
Do you have
with-
an idea of what the deliverable should be? It sounds like you do.
Yeah.
So how about you just say
I
it?
just did say it.
Oh,
He did say it, but I'm arguing that it's not as concrete as stated.
Okay.
But we'll come back with, we'll go back to the original purpose of the committee, all the work that was done. We'll review it because I haven't showed her that work. So we'll take a look at it and then we'll figure out appropriate next steps.
Okay. I feel like that'll work.
Okay.
You good with that? In the meantime, question number 2. Will this be, Jake, an after-school thing, you think?
The visual performing arts thing.
No. The
I don't
Grading-
think that's
grading and
things you want the
assessment.
board to be on it from what you're describing.
I'm not, I don't know what I want. I don't want anything. I'm just throwing out all the.
I'll say that I don't think the board should be on it at the beginning of the discussion. It needs to be kind of a workshop between administrators and teachers to get an idea of what your personnel is going to lean toward. I mean, I know you're not going to have the
Grading
same
and
people,
assessment.
but if you have 10 people that want one and one person that wants the other, then you'll be able to do a little bit more discussion. But if you have 50-50,
during the school day. And
So
be
this
able
would
to
be
get
most
people
likely an after-school thing.
After school.
Okay, so because what I would love to do is by next month, have a little bit more of a flesh out of what you want from us. If you feel like board should be on it, if you feel like you're at the point where you want to bring in community and students, then board should get on it.
Sure.
And then I'd like to be able to at least reach out to the board and have some volunteers for the committee, at least
Okay.
1 or 2 board members, if we're ready for that.
Okay.
But if not, then we can wait until we're ready for that.
If
that okay?
if
Oh my
it's
gosh,
an
this
after
took
school,
like 45 minutes on this.
I didn't make the agenda. If it is after school and you want to assign it, we need to have to identify where from the budget we're going to pay for it.
Absolutely. Just did that for something else.
Yep.
Okay, great.
We're good.
Thank you. There, after school. Okay. Town of Hollis Capital Expenditure Advisory Committee, which is actually called the CAC, which I really don't like the initials of that. I'm sorry. You need to
I
go
didn't
to
make it
them
up.
and say, change this because
Yeah.
this is CAC. How can you say that?
You-
Update.
Anything that's more than three word
Yeah, it should-
letters.
It's too many letters, and it's also weird letters. C E A C.
Because if you get to 4, why stop at
they
4?
they rot. Three of them are exactly sound exactly the same. So
And
Oh.
the C's are silent.
Silent C's.
okay. So, are you giving us the update?
Yes, I am.
Thank you, Rob.
There's not really much to update. Since I sent the memo in July, we continue to build our view on the data that we received. We did have a couple of questions from our last meeting that I needed to reach out, and thank you, Gina, for the clarifications on some of these things. Personally, I'm not a big fan of having you and your team do extra number crunching. Just give us the projects and what they cost. If we need to apportion them, I think we should do that work and not you guys. But we have what we have, and it's great. And we're gonna take that information and continue building on it. And hopefully, as we move into the fall, maybe there'll be updates that we can bring in to that work and continue what we're trying to achieve as a board. I continue to think that the work product that we give the town and maybe the Hollis district is probably or should be different than what we give the co-op, because I think it's a different entity. We have Brookline to consider, and although it's not built to guide Brookline, there are aspects in it that I think should be at least considered. Maybe Brookline may want to look at this and have a little understanding of what the co-op is doing. So for their planning, it's not within our scope, but at least the work product we're building should be portable for that. So I'm still, I don't necessarily have a solution yet, but I'm of the mindset that what we give the co-op should be probably somewhat different than what we're giving.
And what will the
town.
work product be? Just like a list of all the different capital expenditures
Yeah,
that are
it's a list
coming
over
up?
time of what's being planned, whether it's bonded or leased or whatever, and its impact to the taxpayer of Hollis primarily.
But it's somewhat, isn't it all somewhat hypothetical, because these are needs or things that we might want, but they might not necessarily ever get approved?
Well, it's not about necessarily getting approved. It's that if they were to pass, this is what we're up against. This is what the taxpayer can expect. So there may be aspects that Brookline is interested in too.
Oh, sure.
And because for their planning, and it also gives each one of the entities an opportunity to say, hey, there's a lot going on right now. Maybe this is not the year to bring what we're thinking forward. It's kind of a perfect storm. It's those kind of planning, high level planning, and the high level insight. It doesn't necessarily mean it's all going to happen. And
Right.
I keep bringing that message into the committee. I said, just because it's on the CIP plan,
Right.
it still has to go through a very rigorous board discussion before it actually becomes an approved project, and that we're applying, funding strategies and things like that. The rest of it is just like, well, yeah, we got these projects that are coming our way, but we haven't even decided that that's the year and that's the number and that's how we're going to pay for it.
Right.
All that is like not
That's what I
done.
mean. Like, there's a lot that's up in the air. I mean, it just feels like it's great. I'm so glad that you were on this and dealing with the minutia of this within that committee.
No.
But I feel like we're feeding them a lot, and I'm not sure what we're getting back. I assume
And I
that
wanna
what
make
we're gonna
sure-
get back is a list of things that could be happening. But for example, I know the town of Hollis is considering like a significant project for the police and fire.
That's right.
But that's so significant that in my mind, I'm like, is that ever gonna pass? Like, so it can be seen as like, okay, well, the school could potentially have to do something 10 years from now. That could be a little bit of a scare tactic for the voter. Like, oh, well, we have all
Yeah.
these things coming, but they're not all necessarily
Well,
gonna come down the
I
road.
guess the other side of that coin is they're planning to bring that project next year, and it's attach some big number to it. I don't want to throw a
what the
number.
number is, yeah.
But then do we want to at the same year say we're going to add a wing onto the
Right.
school for
Okay, so that's how it
another
works.
big number? That may cause us to say, hey, probably not the best year to do both. Maybe it creates other conversations between the entities and say, well, what really is the probability? Those kind of things. And I agree that we need to make sure that the committee is bringing something that each one of the boards can
Make them
use.
useful for us. Yeah.
Useful, absolutely.
So I like the idea of engaging in that conversation. What concerns me a little bit is that I'm not part of the conversation, and I don't know that I want to be. But I was at a Hall's Budget Committee meeting last year, and I was in conversation with one of the members, and he was like, "It's there, so it's happening." It's not there. It was. I pulled it from FY27. It got dumped into 28. That we haven't really even talked about the realisticness of any of the things in FY28. And then this year the request was to go out to 10 years. So, I spent a lot of time looking at the age of all of our windows and all those things, thinking that windows have a certain, lifespan.
Lifespan, yeah.
Are we really saying 34 is the year we're doing third floor windows? No. But I also don't want to spring that on someone like all the windows went and we didn't plan on. We know
Right,
it's coming. I
right.
have no idea if it's 2034 or when, but we should have in the back of our minds that our buildings are aging, and so you need to have like routine care. And then complicate the factor of the 55% part, and I was too deep into fixing it. The amount of time it took to, and I know it sounds really ridiculous, look at all the numbers that were there and try to make sense of what was already there to potentially make corrections, because it was calculated at 55%. And I'm thinking, I've never seen this number. Oh, let me go back and figure out what
Yeah.
100% is. Okay, now let me go back and translate it back into 55%.
Yeah,
and that,
I
and if
prefer
I
we
put,
don't do that.
yeah, and if I put that on a warrant article, everyone's going to say, no, the number was 55,000, and now you're telling me it's 100,000. Well, no,
Yeah.
because the 55,000 was for the Hollis voter, but the total
Yeah.
prod. So I just have, I love the concept. I'd like to see how this year plays out, but part of me wonders if it's going to achieve the intended goal. I
Yeah,
guess.
and I'm more than happy to take that feedback and represent that at that committee level to make sure we're driving something that is actually useful and helps planning. And if it's not, then we have to ask ourselves then, either what are we doing,
Right.
or what do we have to do to make it better? And that's a lot of questions we're having too.
Yeah.
And I'm just calling out that I think the co-op is a unique entity.
We are.
Yeah.
We are. We're
And we need
we're-
to be sensitive to that as part of what we're producing
Well, we're
and what we're bringing
participating in
forward.
a Hollis-only capital improvement plan
Yeah.
committee, capital
Advisory expense.
expenditure advisory committee, but we are providing facilities for a whole other entity.
Right.
And so we are not that, but yes, they need to weigh what we could potentially be doing in this advisory committee, but it is only an advisory committee also. That's the other thing that's
Right.
really important. It's an
Right.
advisory committee only. Nothing happens without the select board of Hollis approving
And
anything to
same
go to
here.
the, and also
For
fundamentally,
the board here.
nothing happens that's outside of just the regular budget. Well, actually, nothing happens without the voters' approval, whether they approve the
Right.
budget or the bonds. So that's why it's hard to say what's going to happen.
And that's why I think I'm a big fan of us just producing your projects, plan projects, and the costs as you know them, without apportioning
Like
them
not
at all.
saying this is what would cost.
Because
money.
then we have a work product that we get a view that Brookline can use, like, just because it's part of the math.
Okay,
Right.
And so
Yeah.
we're not overly focused on Hollis,
Right.
because we can build the view for Hollis, but the numbers
I
kind of
gotcha.
reflect what the co-op is doing in Brookline. So
Are there any
it's
other
kinda
questions?
complicated.
Yes. Are there any other questions for Rob on this one? Okay, thank you, Rob, for that.
sure, a little long. Sorry.
No, I made it
Oh, yeah.
long. I had questions. All right, facilities committee update. I think we kind of got it when we talked about the cranes, but go ahead.
The committee hasn't met since the last board meeting, I don't
No.
believe.
Okay.
So
I'd
there's
just
no
be
new
interested
update.
in if we can use this time to get a quick update of the status of both buildings in terms of the project
They're on
continuation.
schedule according to the Gantt chart that was provided at the last meeting, so we're good. Like I said, we had like a week for the crane, and then given what we experienced at the high school, I just was a little bit nervous about having to shift things around last minute, so I made some changes. Well, I told Patrick to cancel the open house, and I know that's disappointing, and I know it's really helpful for students, especially seventh graders, to get the lay of the land. But I also think it would be a little upsetting if families took a day off of work so that they could bring their child here, and then we canceled at the last minute, so.
Makes perfect sense.
Is there any input from the board through the facilities committee as to anything that they want the committee to be looking at next? Because that has been a bit of a question mark for the committee.
So I think that when we approved this committee, we did approve it to be a standing committee, but not to meet monthly, but to meet
We're meeting quarterly right
So
now.
quarterly, and I think it's just kind of to coincide with Rob's work, which is on this capital advisory committee, like what's the capital improvement plan, what kind of big projects are coming up, and is there anything that needs to be developed specific to the co-op related to bonds or, those
I
kinds
thought,
of things.
we thought in the facilities committee that it might be, the, the list that Lance presented.
Right.
Anything in particular that for the upcoming year or maybe more that we should make as a next priority that would benefit from a committee, a facility committee's oversight or participation in it. It's to the board, it's also to the administration. I don't know what the next big thing is that we might want to be looking at, if there is anything. I don't think, we haven't really talked about any immediate needs for expansion, correct?
I don't think we have expansion needs right now. I mean, I think we have some other needs, but just looking at, to your point, at our other districts, I think there are more pressing facility needs in our two elementary districts. We also have a teacher contract coming up, so I don't know that
The one that,
there's any
that
pressing
just
needs right now.
we've been hearing coming up a lot that we haven't really figured out is the whole paving, parking lot,
Right.
the parking lot and paving situations of whether we want to, is it near enough that it's gonna happen that we've already got that
The
mapped
high school
out?
Parking lot?
Huh?
The high school parking lot, is that what you're
Yeah.
talking about? Well, our budget meeting is tomorrow.
Hmm?
Our internal second budget meeting is tomorrow. I don't remember, is the back parking lot on this FY 28 or 29? I don't remember.
Another question about alternative access,
So we
It may
do-
fit into
high
that,
school.
they may be tied together, because we
started that project of an emergency egress
Right.
going off of our track.
the Love Lane,
Yeah, but that's for emergency vehicles only, or in an emergency, not.
That's facilities related and.
No, I'm saying it's in progress.
Oh.
We had money already approved for
Oh.
that.
okay. No,
So
I-
are we at the point where you guys don't really have much to do because it's just the capital improvement plan?
Well,
or-
the facilities committee as it has existed so far has been solely focused on the HVAC for both buildings. We're now at the point where that's in implementation. So the question is there any ongoing need for the committee to meet? And if so, what should be the next topic or topics to be addressed by the committee? And in the facilities committee meetings itself, it's been a blank.
Okay, so why don't you give me until next month and we'll take a look at some of the larger ticket items that we had put on the capital improvement plan to take a look at, because the parking lot is, well, for right now, it will appear for FY '28, but that's, I don't think you need a committee to talk about a parking lot. It just needs to be replaced at some point. But there are some bigger items that are more of, is this what we want? And I think you're aware of the facilities shed slash snack shack slash storage, like, is that something we are interested in moving forward and with, or are we no on that? And then that would direct some other work. So I feel like that's more committee work. And there are a couple other items that are like that are scattered around in the next 10 years. And I think that's
So if you
something we might wanna talk
recall
about.
how we got there, is that
Got where?
how we ended up with a board facilities committee was that when the original bond was put together for the very first bond that failed for the solar project, it wasn't even a solar project. It was a replace propane, replace
It was a
oil
boiler
tank,
replacement.
boiler replacement project. And we had no input. It just kind of came to us as a board without us even kind of knowing much about it. And then we tried to ask questions as a board, and then we got like hammered at the meeting because we hadn't really had conversations with folks about energy efficiency and renewables and all of that. And so we really got slammed.
Yeah,
And so
there
we,
were discussions that a school board just can't spend a lot of time on.
Right, and
so it made
so
a
it
whole
made
lot of sense
to
to
create a committee, and we thought like, because there's been other times in my time on the board where there was a presentation where we were thinking about some science classroom upgrades and some media this build changes, and they kept coming to us in a way that was like, what is this? So like, how's this coming to us? So the idea is like, now I think it's time for the facilities committee to look at those kinds of things and say, is any of this going to come to the board, need board approval in the next couple of years? And if there really isn't anything, it's just going to be like paving as part of the budget, and this is part of the budget, and window replacement, then maybe it's time to say, we'll meet once every 6 months. Like maybe we'll meet a little less. I don't know. You guys as a
I don't
committee.
see any reason to meet unless there is a project.
Right. Or unless there's like a planning for a future project that we know is going to happen in a couple of years.
But,
Right.
but my point is,
Right.
if we don't have a topic, there's no reason to meet.
Okay.
Right now, we've got another meeting scheduled, and all we would do is get an update on the middle school and high school, and that's not the purpose of the committee.
But
at
maybe
this
the
point.
committee has to have a conversation and look at the capital improvement plan 5 years out and see if there's anything that you would want more feedback on, you know.
Particularly if
The
the
board, not the committee, would do that.
the committee,
Right.
yeah.
Well, the
But-
committee could come to us and say, we see these
Right,
things as things
right.
that you're going to need more.
And particularly if some of these projects have a lot of moving parts and require a lot of deep understanding and detail, maybe, arguably, maybe just paving a parking lot doesn't have those aspects. Maybe it does, don't know.
So-
But there may be things that come up in improvement plans, particularly building related or property, that we might want as a board refer to the committee.
Right. I just don't want to get caught, how do I say this? Like flat-footed again?
No,
Like
yeah, of
where
course
we,
not. No,
where
that's
we
why
were
I'm
like,
asking it.
we were
So-
like
so-
on our heels trying to figure out when that happened. And so, and we of course knew that like propane tanks needed to come in and
Right.
oil, like we wanted to present that, but I feel like we got sort of, so having the existence of this committee, which the board could say, okay, we really need them to meet because,
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we take a hiatus and you reconvene at another time. The only reason I brought up the paving is I had thought that there were ongoing questions as to whether it was going to be a repair versus a reconstruction
Or redesign.
I believe this
versus
point is the
something
reconstruction.
that more extensive.
Okay.
So,
so you
I
guys
would-
can talk
that-
about
that's
that
what-
the next
that's
meeting
what-
and figure that out.
well, the facilities committee serves the board. The
Right.
board doesn't serve the
I
committee.
understand that. I get that. And that's exactly, but
So until the board says, please work on this, I think
Yeah,
the
we need-
facilities committee
Should-
should,
be shelved for a
Yeah.
little while. But I mean, the members can still be, it could still be
the core
identified
members,
and the core members identified, but maybe we meet once or twice a year if there's nothing going on. But if this board decides, hey, these 2 or 3 projects have a lot of moving parts, let's refer this to the committee, then the committee gets reactivated again, right? But we're not as a committee, we're not going to say, hey, we're going to jump on that.
No, I'm
We
not
need the
saying that. I
board
just feel like
direction.
the facilities committee's role could be in like looking at that improvement plan and making a recommendation to the board of like, these are what, like the budget committee makes
Agreed.
recommendations, like a recommendation, like we see this as some things that need to be done and might be bigger projects, or we don't see anything like that. So between the superintendent and the committee,
I think it just comes down to, is it a new project, or is it more of a maintenance project, or is it a maintenance with redesign?
Okay.
Those are the type of things that we may want to say, hey, facilities
Right.
committee, take a look at this, will you? Is there meat on the bone, or is there
Right.
not meat on
Okay.
the bone?
got it. Okay. I don't know where we left it, but I think you guys are meeting one more time, so we'll just figure that out. Budget committee update. Have you guys met?
no, we haven't met since May.
Tomorrow night,
In theory,
Is there a forum tomorrow night?
we'll find out.
we'll see who shows up.
Okay,
There was supposedly a
you don't count as a quorum
right,
now
there was
because of
supposedly
the
a
new.
quorum last time too, and there wasn't.
Doesn't matter, you don't count.
Right,
Sorry.
that's okay, I don't go.
Stipend committee update. I think we don't need,
We don't have
do
an
that.
update.
Okay, moving on to
Deliberations.
deliberations.
51.
7:51.
You're on
I'm
top.
on time. I'm 1 minute behind.
With all that
So
one's
a
got
policy
this.
memo. I'll let Scott take that. And then, do our principals need to be
I
here?
didn't know if they needed to be here for some of the policies, but let's let them.
Okay. And they don't need to be here for non-public.
We'll update them.
Non-meeting, non-public?
Can I bring up one point before they leave and
No. Go ahead. Sorry. Yes, Tom.
I've been reading some stuff, not because of the board, but just on high performance teams. And one of the things that caught my attention is a lot of studies that have been done on the characteristics for efficient meetings. And one of the things that they say is that fatigue is a major factor in meetings, and that the topics that are most important should be done as early as possible in the meeting. And I understand that some of the things we put early in the meeting are done specifically to allow our administrators and some visitors to leave early, rather than sitting through deliberations and stuff. But if you look at things under deliberation, it's usually policies, decisions that only the board can make, which I would see being characterized as probably the most important work we do. And also some of the most stressful work that we do, particularly after we've been here for an hour or more.
Mm-hmm.
Would there be any appetite to restructuring the way we build agendas to put those items earlier in the agenda, and even things like possibly public input or some of the presentations that are very informative but don't require debate, things like that
I feel like
later.
we debate everything, Tom.
But why are you debating with me? But one of the impacts would be if we move things like reports to the end. That would impact our administrators being able to exit early.
But if we kept our meetings to 90 minutes, which I'm sure you read is the maximum number of minutes that really any meeting should be, then that would be fine. Maybe
Actually,
here
they
for an
say
hour and a half.
15 minutes, but
Yeah, like 90 minutes is what, at my other, I'm heavily involved in another organization in town, and we try to limit to 90 minutes.
well, our policy doesn't allow us to go after 8 o'clock without approval.
Ooh,
Is that true?
let's whip out that policy.
We're
7:53.
supposed to take a vote. We're supposed to take a
Yeah.
vote at 8 o'clock if we're going to continue.
Or no?
I had no idea.
Yeah, but I
Lessons learned.
I just-
Anybody
I just
want to
wanted
vote no on that?
I just wanted to ask the question now while they're still here, so that they, when they sometimes find, and see, if they do see an agenda that has reports move to the end, they know whose
Okay.
fault it is.
That's
Well,
it.
particularly because the reports we receive from the principals are quite thorough.
Right.
So the fact that they give it us to the board, they don't have to read it and go through it. It's very thorough and very clear. And I want to save them as much time as possible.
So one thing we could consider as a board, if we want to make those kinds of changes, is the idea that both of our principals attend. I think other boards, not all the principals attend. So maybe we could, we don't have to have both the principals here. They could alternate or do something like that, or have one principal here, or
Just
you know.
if there's a
So
deliberative item.
all good good conversations to have and good thoughts. And I'm the person who's supposed to help make the agendas, so I will take this under advisement. Is there anyone who has a comment on this?
I'm a big fan of an efficient meeting.
I happen to
So
know that-
sorry, Amy.
All right.
The Hollis, the chairman many years ago decided that it's optional for the principals to come,
Yeah.
and it's worked out really well.
But
but-
they still submit the report every month.
They do, and what we do is
What
invite
you
them.
did.
Yes, what they did.
That
There's
one.
usually a beginning of the year. What are we planning to do? What you got? And tell us all the great things. And usually at the end of the year, they came and said, "Here's what we accomplished." And other than that, throughout the year, we got great reports, just like we get here.
So the only thing that complicates that a little bit is that at the co-op, although we don't have someone here, we usually have a student, a student
Yes.
council president, student council representative, and they don't know. None of them really know us, not even us. They know the principal, like with the principals when they. So it sometimes is a little bit comforting for them to have the principal in the same room. So I would hesitate to go principal free, but most of the students who come here, even if Patrick's not their principal now, probably would
So
know
you're
the student.
saying we shouldn't operate without principals?
Yeah. I'm not saying I would like to I would love to be able to say it's optional for principals, but I do feel for that student. But maybe I don't need to. Maybe the student's fine.
Anyway.
It's also only once a month.
You
Like,
feel-
I mean,
I
I don't
just
want to
feel
speak
like-
for Patrick, but like, I'm here once a month. It's not like
Some
Every-
boards meet twice
every
a month.
week I'm here for 6 hours. Like,
And you
thanks,
guys
for,
don't
thanks
say
for
that.
thinking of me, Tom. Like, I appreciate it.
No,
I mean,
I-
the
I-
candy bowl
I'm
didn't
not-
make it over here tonight. I will go on. I will go on record saying that.
He didn't hear the-
I bring the candy, someone else has to rotate the ball.
Helping it. He's working on a Boston half marathon.
I'm trying.
Help him
I'm
get there.
trying. Don't say that on public record. Now I have to.
Why you say it?
So what were you gonna say, Gina?
I just feel that the conversations we have here, I think involve the principals more so than the elementary district. So I think it is.
I agree.
I didn't
unfortunately,
advocate
I
getting
do-
rid of them. I just wanted to shift them, and I was afraid it was going to last. They can have to
That's
stay
why you want to
later.
be here.
Either
I mean, the
shift or
truth of the
do it-
matter is, if we shifted them to the end, you wouldn't necessarily have to go through the whole thing. We could just say, thank you so much for your principal's report. Does the board have any questions
could
on
do
it? And
that.
we could just ask
That's right.
questions, and then you wouldn't have to go through it. Like, you do sort of read them, and I do appreciate that because many members of the public don't know how to access our agendas and da da da. Da. But that being said, if we were really efficient, we could just we are supposed to have read them, which we do. Every single word and look at the pictures. No, I do. I read them all. But we could ask questions and then be done. So, and we don't necessarily have to move them to after discussion. We could do deliberate first and then.
Just less presentational, and it's just like, well, you all have the information there. Are there any questions that
Right.
we need
Right.
answered or
Okay.
anything like
I'll
that?
think about it. I hesitate to have deliberations come before discussion because many times we discuss something and then it leads to a deliberative item. So I do think I can certainly think about it. I'll take all of your feedback offline on that one because it's something that you can feed me your thoughts on it and we can talk about agenda building and next month's agenda will probably look very much like this month's, but we can start to think about
The
that.
main point was take the things that require the most thought and do them as early as you can
Horsepower, yeah.
before we're burnt out.
Yeah, and I would
And
agree.
save the ones that are more formative, but just absorbing and move those later on. That was just
Okay.
the only point I wanted to make.
We can talk about that. The policy committee is the ones who feeds this memo, so maybe we can talk about it a little bit in policy and see what people's thoughts are that way. Keeping in mind that even though policy is probably our most important work, it's also work that's done extensively behind the scenes, and we basically present a lot and more and more and more policy work is being done by our attorneys. It's not because we're deferring it, it's because it's getting more and more complicated. So, speaking of policy, look at our memo.
But we can now excuse it.
You guys can go home now, because we don't need
But
you.
you don't have to.
But you can stay if you want. But you're welcome to leave. It's only once a month. So you may
We'll just talk about you after you leave.
grab a piece of candy.
You believe these guys?
All righty, thank you. And also, Jake, I assume we won't have a student until like October, right?
I'll probably try to wrangle one for September.
Okay.
For sure.
I do feel like they need sort of.
There's so many jumping up and down to join us. So. Pick one or
Maybe
two.
you can rotate
Yeah,
it through.
probably. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Enjoy the last rows.
Okay,
And
so
speaking of policy and attorneys,
so this is on the policy memo today, because this is very much attorney heavy. Go ahead.
the JICK was coming forward to you for a third reading today. The subcommittee is recommending that you approve JICK tonight. However, it's coming right back to the policy subcommittee. There was some major changes made very late in the year before the legislature departed.
3 weeks ago.
And we've already been in conversations with the attorney. We were just with her on Monday at our leadership retreat. She's taking a look at this one and two others.
But we would like to adopt it tonight because
There are
We-
some
Cool
things
start.
We need
we
the
have
changes.
school starting, and we
Yes.
need to have a live, active,
Yeah.
approved
And-
policy
And
link.
this one is substantially different than what is currently in place.
Yes.
There
And
will
then
be
there
more
are some.
changes.
there
I
are-
understand that part,
yeah.
but we can't live with what we
No,
already have.
We need
Because this is already changed significantly
That was my
from
question.
Yeah.
the one that's,
We've
the
adopted.
one that's live right
Yeah,
now
okay, that
is
was my
very
question.
different than this, and then that,
So
so.
does that mean what's coming back to us, we'll go through first read again and,
It'll start a
Probably
whole,
That's
multiple-
yeah,
multiple
one or
reads.
two.
okay.
Yeah,
Because there are some significant changes in it. And there always, oftentimes is a lag between policy and law. And so if we
Yeah.
came into a situation where we had to implement bullying, we would follow the law, even though it isn't necessarily,
that-
it could be out of sync with our policy.
does anything that we're going to be asked to approve tonight and implement contradict or violate the law that was just implemented?
No, so as far as the process goes, there are some additional process requirements in the law that we'll be following as laws, like certain notifications and certain pieces that are going to be added to the policy. And there's some definition changes of bullying and of other definitions, which a little too complex to go into right this second, that are going to be changed, but we will have to follow those definitions per the law. So our policy structure is perfectly appropriate. Nothing violates anything. The law is more restricted.
Are we going to go through this? Is this going through it now?
so we're on third read of this.
No, but I mean, is this the place to ask the questions
Yeah,
about that policy?
Sure.
Yes. You guys
Oh, sorry.
tend to take each one separately.
Well, I didn't think there was going to be a motion till we do the whole memo.
Let's go through the memo,
Well,
then we'll make a
that-
motion
that
to
was-
approve the
that
memo.
was my
But
question.
let's try not to spend, because we're not gonna approve them separately, we're gonna do them all at once, but let's just look at the.
Okay. JCA is coming to you for a third read with minor change, and that was just to remove the word designee throughout the document. JLCD is coming to you. You saw this very frequently. You approved it in April, I believe. Yeah, you adopted it April 8th. There are two small changes. This came in on the spring memo. We were actually ahead of what was being recommended. And so on page 127 in your packet, all we're doing is a grammar change, striking out small a1 to make a capital A. and then linking it to policy JLCE. So that's just new language. We had already, it's in the policy further along linked, and it shouldn't be linked there as well.
So that one we're actually asking for adopt, right?
Yes.
J-
Yeah.
Because it's
It's
minor
so minor.
changes.
Yeah,
and
very
we've already
minor.
approved it
Yeah.
recently.
And then we have 3 that are here for first read. ABCA, Crisis Prevention and Emergency Response Plan. This is just a recommended policy, but it's one that, because if there was a crisis or an emergency in the building, it just adds extra strength that the district has looked at this, has a policy, it follows what the law requires anyways. And so we're bringing it forward for a first read.
And this is a completely new policy. We don't have.
That's
this
a new
one.
policy for us. AC, non-discrimination and equal opportunity employment. This comes to you every several years. We don't have a lot of, yeah,
Every year.
I really, we see
every
this one
6
every single
months
year.
there's not a lot of leeway to change things in this, but it is coming for an update, and the major change on the second page, letter F, complaint and report procedures, has been eliminated. It was a small paragraph, and they've just expanded it and separated it out into reports and complaints as 1, grievance procedures and investigations 2, and consequences and remedies 3. So it's just become more specific as to the steps.
And to be honest, when we go back, we'll make sure that we'll have
The
them, like,
formatting will be
work on the
fixed.
formatting, because the formatting's off clearly when you look at this. So that'll be our second thing.
And then finally, DAF, which is the Administration of Federal Grants. Again, this comes to you on a regular basis, every couple of years. This is something that we need for our federal grants. Gina has to sign off and say that we follow the federal grant procedures in order to apply for any of the federal grant money. And we don't have a lot of leeway to change things. This is the way that it has to be.
You cold?
Freezing. It's so cold in here. Sorry.
Okay,
February.
so, are there any questions or comments on that? Things that you need us to fix now, or do you want to put a motion on the table to take, and then do it during that? Okay, I'll take a motion to, hold on, motion say. I need a motion, where's the motion? Where's the motion?
Do the locomotion.
A motion
To
to
accept.
accept the policy memo
There we go.
as written.
Yeah, I have that. Good, yep. Good. I don't see it here, but motion to
It's
approve
not there.
policy memo as written.
So moved.
Moved by Rob,
Second.
second by Cindy. Is there any discussion on that?
Yep.
Okay.
Very simple. This whole bullying question thing, can someone be sure to touch base with principals if they're talking about having a speaker come in on this topic? Want to make sure that that person's discussion is aligned with law.
The policy and the law. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We will absolutely do that.
absolutely. And we'll make sure in policy committee, and now that it'll be that'll be reflected in the minutes, and we'll make sure that in the policy committee, we
And
emphasize that.
appropriate for schools.
Yes.
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 That I'm not so worried about in the sense that I suspect, but the fact is
would be.
that they've
Right.
done it, but I'm really concerned with New Hampshire is sort of carving out its own
Yes, they
place
are.
in the world.
Shocking. This just in.
Okay, I think
Thank
that's
you.
a very good point. Okay, so all those in favor of the policy memo as presented? 5-0. 5-0. Okay, so we will take, that motion carried.
I have a coat in my car. If you
Yeah,
want me to get it.
that's, so I don't go anywhere without an
I know,
overlay.
I
Like,
know.
I don't, and I don't even get cold, but I don't like.
I'm usually cold.
And this school is notoriously one of our
Yeah.
coldest. There are 2 very cold schools. This is one of them.
Okay, so moving on, I just need I need a report out from the process observer.
It's 8:08 right now.
We are at 8:08, and the presentation on the data was great. I think that was a perfect feedback for him to be able to get to review it ahead of time with the beta. And the discussion on grading and assessment and facilities went lengthy, but
Yeah, that
we
was
still
long.
made,
So
we still
sorry
made,
about
made our time, so.
Right,
Good
so I'll
job,
say, if you want an
everybody.
efficient meeting, I should just be quiet. Okay. All right. So now we need to move into a non-meeting and non-public. But I was just thinking about this, like, we really need to make the motion to go into non-public, and then we can go into a non-meeting
Yes.
after non-public?
Yeah.
Should the non-meeting be after we adjourn?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the non-meeting is gonna be after we adjourn, so we're making an agenda
Non-meeting
adjustment
is like
now.
it's never happened.
I know. I didn't know. I wanted Emmy to put it on here because I wanted the board to be aware that we had to have that. Okay, so I need a motion that the board by roll call go into non-public session pursuant to, is it A and C?
Mhm.
Pursuant to RSA 91-A:3(2)A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, and C, to discuss a matter which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of a person other than a member of the body or agency itself. So I need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Cindy, second by Rob. I need a roll call vote starting with Cindy.
Cindy, I.
Amy, I.
Holly, aye.
Rabbi.
Tom, I.
So we are now in non-public at 8:10. The board will adjourn after non-public and then go into a non-meeting. Are we doing this somewhere else where it's not too
Yeah.
cold?
Let's go somewhere warm.
Mark